Duggar.
Broadcasting live from the KSHP studios in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada. It's time to get on the right side of sports betting. It's time for the Odds Couple.
To the Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio, live and worldwide Vegas Video Network. My name is Scott Pritchard, professional sports bettor handicapper. Good thing, because this show is about sports, namely sports betting and putting money into your pocket. I'm joined by good friend, co-host, GM, owner of KSHP, Brett Grant.
Good morning, and you better watch out, because I'm going up and in today.
Up and in,
up
really?
And in.
You and Ian Kennedy and
everybody.
Ryan Key and everyone else.
Yes, indeedy.
All right.
Now, Scott took that the wrong way.
Well, he always does. And you know what? They have a one-track mind, these guys.
No, Amanda is not here today. Okay, guys, relax.
Amanda Blow, she's a star on our show. She's been with us now 2 times. Monday, she comes alongside Daryl Wright, famous headline comic who was on the show for the 2nd time. So we can't wait to have Daryl Wright, who's featured on Speed TV, Fox Sports, a black dude talking NASCAR. Talk about finding a niche. That guy has mastered the niche, hasn't he?
It's almost an oxymoron in that regard, isn't it? It's pretty close.
You're listening to The Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio, live and worldwide Vegas Video Network. We're here Monday through Friday from 10 to 11 Las Vegas time. Scott Pritchard, Brett Grant. Let's get started with what say you? The San Antonio Spurs looking good, feeling good. Old Man River. The Spurs are too old. They're senile. They're a bunch of antiques. I'm tired. I've been tired of hearing this the entire year. As we all know, the viewers, listeners, I had a big fat future on the Spurs. I've been singing a song about the Spurs since February.
Doodah.
At plus 250, plus 220. And now in the finals, the Miami Heat, imagine that, the Spurs not getting any respect. The Heat, and I understand that. I mean, the 3rd consecutive year that the Heat have gone to the NBA Finals, having won it last year against OKC Thunder. But the Spurs not only won, they covered the 2.5 point line, 36-point win, 113-77. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, just about, are you kidding me? The vaunted Miami Heat offense scored, a grand total of 33 points in the second half. And it was, we talked about yesterday, the comfort level that the Spurs have at home. You saw Danny Green yesterday bombing threes from all over the place. He's already now, in 3 games of the finals, made more three-pointers than anybody in Spurs history in a postseason series. It only took him 3 games to do it. They didn't have an answer for him last night. He was terrific. LeBron was horrible, 7 of 21. But LeBron didn't make any excuses, and that's one of the things I like about him is the fact that he said, look, they're doing a great job on me. They're fronting me. They got 2 guys on me. He goes, I didn't take a free throw last night. That's not very good. So he was right there as best critic, biggest critic last night, talking about the game, and he gave the Spurs plenty of credit, and the Spurs just went out in the 3rd quarter and took over the game.
We have to back up the truck. You're letting your man here, LeBron James, off the hook. I have to continue to throw this guy under the bus.
Right.
Can you imagine? You are the man. You are the face of the franchise. All right. It made me want to vomit after the game when he said, "Listen, media, I will take responsibility for this. This is on my chest. This is on my." It's like, no kidding. You're the man, and you didn't attempt a free throw. All right? That's because you didn't grow a pair and go hard to the basket, attack the rim.
But
You're
normally
LeBron
he does.
James.
Normally he does.
Not a single free throw attempt. When was the last time Michael Jordan in a playoff game did not attempt a free throw? You're not going to attempt a free throw, my friend. I mean, Brett. If you don't go to the rack.
I'm not your friend anymore. Well, no, I agree. But you got to give the Spurs a lot of credit for not letting them get there. And normally he does. He's not afraid to go to the rim. Normally he's all over the rim and he'll attack it. But the Spurs completely, Popovich versus Spoelstra, the mismatch, the biggest mismatch is on the bench. And you saw last night.
knows best.
Right.
Greg Popovich, the best coach
I just said
on
it so
the
you
planet.
could say that.
Thank you. That was a tee-up. I like it.
No,
I'll take it.
It was a layup, but LeBron would have blown it and missed the free throws. He wouldn't have gotten any free throws. Let me ask you this. The zigzag theory, again, it's zig and zag in Game 2 and Game 3.
I have to say, I am so impressed with you and me. We talk about this every single day, especially me.
Right, yeah.
I have to say, every day during the postseason, we've talked about the zigzag theory, and most educated sports bettors are familiar with this, but it's amazing to me. I just cannot understand how. I mean, it's a very predictable situation.
Right.
We know the trend is, if you're just tuning in for the first time, the trend is with the Miami Heat, specifically LeBron James, you're looking at a team that when they win the very next game in the playoffs, this postseason especially, they tend to be complacent. How can you be complacent in the NBA Finals, Game 3 on the road? But conversely, every single time when the Heat lose a game, they come back. Not only do they win, they cover. They win going away. I believe it's 9-0, 10-0 in their last 10 situations like this.
Well, it is uncanny. And the thing I don't understand is, how does a good team take one game off, turn it on the next game, vice versa? The Bulls and the Lakers, when they were going through their runs, they didn't mess around with anybody. We're going 15-1. We're going 16-0, 14-2. We're not losing 3 games in a series, and now 2 games in this series. We're not going anywhere near Game 6 or Game 7. We're getting this stuff done quickly.
I love that point. It's a great point, because what you have with the Miami Heat, we've talked about it during the course of the regular season, that it hurt them. You're only as good as your competition. And the fact is, with the Miami Heat, they turn it on, they turn it off. Bad habit to get into. You can get away with that crap when playing in the weak-ass Eastern Conference. Right. You can't pull that crap if you're playing in the top locked and loaded teams of the Western Conference. And so it's starting to bite them in the behind.
Well, they're down 2-1. Next 2 games in San Antonio. If they get to Game 6 and 7, obviously back in Miami, what do you see? Do you see them zagging right back and evening the series tomorrow night?
History has a way of repeating itself. The Miami Heat, I mean, a couple of variables come into play. I mean, the trend specifically says back up the truck, unload on the Miami Heat in the next game, because they will respond. They're too good, too talented not to. I mean, you talk about Danny Green. I talked about it yesterday. The fact that Tony Parker was the 28th player picked in the first round. Manu Ginobili was the 56th or 57th player picked in the draft. The Heat, they have the studs. They have the top 3 of 5 players in the draft. I mean, they're locked and loaded and have been for quite some time. The Spurs buy into the system. Danny Green was taken in the second round out of North Carolina. Leonard, a no-name from San Diego State University, has really developed into a star player. And, LeBron James is saying Leonard is the reason he's struggling, but Danny Green says LeBron James is the reason LeBron James is struggling.
Well, it'll be interesting, but if you looked at the box score and you said, okay, Tim Duncan had 12 points, Tony Parker had 6 points, Manu Ginobili had 7 points, would you have ever thought the Spurs would win by 35
I would have bet the
points?
farm on the Heat
Exactly.
based on that.
Who's Gary Neal?
Gary Neal,
wow.
He's been doing. But
Neal and Bob, or is that like what you do? Sorry.
They're a steal. They're a team. There is no I in team, but there is in win. The San Antonio Spurs, this is not news. I mean, I believe they were 4th in all of basketball with 3-point shooting. Danny Green is an outstanding 3-point shooter. But the thing is, quite frankly, Gary Neal has been doing this all year.
Right.
But what you had, those 2 players went 13 of 19 from the 3-point line, combining for 51 points. But guess what? If you're wide ass open, it's not a 35% shot attempt. It's more like a 50% shot attempt. But 13 of 19, they were wide open looks.
Unless you're Chris Bosh. Then it's still about a 25% chance it's going to go in. By the way, Gary Neal attended, talking about obscure,
right?
Towson.
Right, Towson State.
Towson.
University, a basketball mecca.
Right.
It goes back to, I was talking to my buddy Bill Parker on the phone on the way in, talking about the Spurs versus the Heat, and the fact that you're talking about, we mentioned this yesterday, I said that 5 beats 3 every day of the week, twice on Sunday.
Right.
Now, I'm a big Spurs fan. I'm not writing off the Miami Heat.
Right.
They're too good, too talented. I would expect the man-child to step up and be a leader and lead by example instead of whining. And 7 for 21, come on, are you... It's a joke. I mean, it's great. The over-under for LeBron James in points, Game 1, 28.5, Game 2, 28, Game 3 last night, 26.5. He hasn't even reached 20 points in any one of the 3, but this is somewhat predictable because whenever the Spurs play a star-studded leader of a team like Kevin Durant, they don't foul. They don't foul.
Right.
They will contest the shots. But LeBron James, I mean, he was 18 feet away from the basket. Leonard was playing off him. And what did James do? He would pass off to Bosh, a 2-foot pass. Come on, man. You are the man. Act like it.
Well, when you look at the box score again from them, they shoot 40%, 15 for James, 16 for Wade, I think 12 for Bosh. The only three guys in double figures, but nobody all below their season averages. And you got to give the Spurs lots of credit for the way they're handling these three guys. I think they have them a little confused about what's coming next. They change it up. We're double teaming. We're not double teaming. We're going to let you run. We're not going to let you run. We're going to do this. We're taking this guy away. We're taking that guy away. Go ahead, LeBron, shoot. The other four guys are all covered. We're going to double team you and dare you to find the open guy, and he's not. And the open guy, when he does find them, isn't making the shot.
Marquee players have to step up this time of year. You look at the Miami Heat. We talked before on this show many times, my friend, that their Achilles heel is rebounding. 52-36, they were out-rebounded last night. You talk about the big three. Manu Ginobili, Duncan, Parker. Statistically, didn't match up. But again, it's about the team concept buying into the system for the San Antonio Spurs. Now Tony Parker tweaked his hamstring, left the game in the second half, came back in the fourth quarter to play a couple of minutes. Appears to be okay. Going to have an MRI today to check things out. He's questionable officially for Game 2. I'm actually at Game 2. It's like I'm living in the past.
They lost
Game
2,
4. It's 2-1. Right. Okay. And the point spread is 2 early money on Miami, -1.5. Interesting. I was talking to Scott Whitney, the executive producer of the Vegas Video Network here earlier, and it was interesting because, I mean, the point spread yesterday, 2.5, 2. You win by 36. The Spurs still get no credit, no respect, which is great. Just keep cashing tickets at the bet window.
Right.
Non-sexy teams, oftentimes high-profile teams, are extremely overrated, a la the Laker girls, a la the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals here. The San Antonio Spurs, all they do is win. A couple of years ago, I went on record as saying this team, the Spurs, number one, ATS against the spread, the highest profile team in the league a couple of years ago. Lakers were the absolute worst ATS team. Oftentimes, the less you know, the more you know.
Well, when you look at the game last night, let me ask you this. Duncan played 29 minutes. We talked about Parker with a potential injury. Ginobili only played 23 minutes last night. So, obviously, fatigue. They were able to rest during the game yesterday, so that shouldn't be a factor for them in Game 4. But as we talked about also yesterday, it's very difficult for the home team to win 3 games in a row. You expect, I would assume, that this series goes back to Miami for Game 6 at some point.
I absolutely do. And, of course, I certainly said so yesterday, but the fact that it's a lot easier to win 2 games at home than it is 3, and they've already won 1. So we'll see how it plays out. But Miami, again, I mean, right now the adjusted series price, the San Antonio Spurs, I mean, we've played 3 games. There are potentially 4 games left, 2 games in San Antonio, 2 games in Miami. Our good friend Steve, who is on the show regularly, liked the Heat in 6. I don't think he likes the Heat in 6 today. That would mean basically that they have to win.
He's incognito today. Strangely absent from live chat today is Steve.
But I expect that the series certainly will go back to Miami. I expect the Heat to at least split the next 2 games because they're too – I mean, I'm big on talent. I mean, I love the Spurs. I love Popovich and the system that they utilize. But you talk about the rest and the limited minutes for the big 3, but that's been the case the entire year. Their bench, oftentimes It's not who you start. Who do you have coming off the bench?
That's
now,
true.
What our good buddy Darryl called out Chalmers. Chalmers was scoreless yesterday.
Yes, he was.
Not a single point. But I want to call out D-Wade. Dwayne Wade, the secondary face of the franchise for the Miami Heat. This is the NBA Finals, man. It's time to cowboy up. Dwayne Wade.
7 of 15 yesterday, 16
Forget
points.
that. I'm talking rebounds.
How
many rebounds?
He had a donut.
Exactly.
Yes.
I had the same
0.
number of rebounds as Dwayne Wade had, but I didn't play. Dwayne Wade played the entire game, NBA Finals. Yeah, we can throw LeBron under the bus, but D-Wade, not a single rebound. Are you kidding me?
That's a good point, but also Chris Bosh, who's usually allergic, he has allergic reactions to rebounding. He had 10 yesterday. He usually breaks out in hives.
Was that during warm-ups?
I think he breaks out in hives when it comes rebound, kind of like practice. What about the series price now? I saw now the Spurs are about $1.30 Is that about right?
Yeah, $1.25 in that ballpark.
Okay,
they're
so
minus.
Now you can get the Heat at not a fat plus, but a plus 110,
plus 05,
maybe?
plus 10.
Right.
You can get with the Miami Heat. The big thing is when you step up to the bet window, please understand you have to check that injury report. Right now, Tony Parker is officially questionable. I would be hard-pressed to think that he wouldn't play in Game 4, but it's interesting as well to know that you win by 36 points, you come back. Last night it opened 2. It's been bet down to 1.5. Side note, I went to Station Properties last night to bet overnight baseball, minus 40 cents on the Cardinals today, and sometimes I'm too smart for my own good, and I overanalyze, and I hurt myself. I'll give you an example. I went to Stations proactively lay 40 cents on the Cardinals, and when I stepped up to bet it, they said it's 45. I said, no, I will not compromise 5 cents. Today I wake up, it's minus 67. Are you kidding me?
I think it's 70 now.
Is that? Yeah, depending upon where you look.
Right.
But when I left this morning, it was 67. I was thinking, wow, I was upset because I was compromised. I mean, 40 cents was cheap. It's what it opened at. That's what I wanted to bet it at, but they moved it 5 cents. I said, no, I don't want it. And today it's 67 to 70, 25 cents, 30 cents, the best of it. So that's what I do. Day in, day out, story of my life.
Frustrate yourself.
Exactly. No one does it better than me.
Well, back in the day, I used to be, on Thursdays, a buddy of mine, we used to always go to the off-track betting place, have lunch, and go bet a horse race. And he was famous, not me, my buddy. He could pick whatever horse was going to finish second every race. He could never pick the winner.
That's great.
He could never pick third place. Whatever horse he liked, finished second.
That's great.
I said, well, just bet on the place then.
Right.
I mean, well, it's not as exciting. It doesn't pay very much. Well, then don't bet it, I guess. How about doing some exactas with that horse in the 2-hole with all the other horses to win? You can reverse wheel. Well, it's too expensive. Well, it's probably cheaper than what you're doing here today. So, yes, I understand. Second, it's the biggest thing with gamblers is not talking about you, but the second guessing. You get a lot of times have to trust your gut instinct.
It's a great point, and it is me, okay? Whether you're a professional or...
That's what your wife said, too.
Well, whether you're a professional or you're a novice or you're just betting for the action, which represents about 90% of the players out there, you're always going to second guess. I try not to because it's like, listen, there's nothing... I always ask myself after the game, win, lose, or draw. I always evaluate, reevaluate. Did I get the best number, or at least close to the best number?
Right.
Did I do everything right? Okay? And more times than not, the answer is yes. The rest is just drama. And 50% of the time, these games are totally random. But if you can hit 3 out of 5, if you can hit 60% of the other 50%, okay, you're going to do okay for yourself. But it's not for the weak of heart. You have to have thick skin. All you can do is all you can do. I've been saying this for years, but it's true. So if you get the best of it, every single bet, whether it's 7 cents, I mean, look, as an example, the Cardinals, okay, minus 40 cents. I missed it by maybe 3 minutes, okay? It moved from 40 to 45. I respectfully passed, only to find out today it's 70, okay? So if I'm betting $1,400 to win $1,000 on the Cardinals last night, and you want to win $1,000, today you have to put up $1,700. That's a difference of $300. Right. That's one bet. So even when I win, I lose. Why? Because I lose less.
Right.
Or even when I lose, I still win because I still scalped $300. The idea is you take that times 3 to 5 bets per day times 7 days a week. It's very, very significant.
Yeah.
It really is. So, but again, that's the story of my life. We're always evaluating, reevaluating. Frustration's the name of the game.
I looked at the same game last night, and I thought the same thing, and I go, I'll wait until the morning to see where it moved. And I was going to play it, I go, because I'm trying to learn from Scott about following the money. I go, well, Mike, this G guy, I looked at him, he's been pitching pretty well. The guy who's pitching for the Mets, he's been pitching pretty well. This might come down a little bit. We'll see what happens. I'm still going to play the Cardinals. Like, oh, no, look at where it is.
Right.
It went through the roof.
And there was a reason why, even when I was there at Stations last night, when I pinpointed that as value, that and another game was Reds taking on the Cubs. I laid 10 cents. I believe it's minus 20, 25, depending upon where you look today. And that's what I do. And
I played the same game.
And the Twins at home against the Phillies, another play. Mm-hmm. Minus 15 cents. It's minus 20, 18, 20. So I scalped 3 to 5 to 7 cents. But, you're betting $1,000 per game. It adds up. It's $70 times, 3 to 5 bets per day. So it adds up.
It's dinner.
For me, it's an appetizer.
There you go.
You're listening to The Odds Couple. My name is Scott Pritchard. I am a professional sports bettor handicapper featured all over My own website, Pritchard'sPicks.com. Check it out. Opt in for free daily picks. Some of the information you have to pay for. Some of the information is free. I'll preface that by saying the most expensive advice is free advice. Amazing to me how many sports bettors I run into, and they'll ask me who I like. I say, go to my site. And they'll say, well, so-and-so likes this and that. I said, why would you take advice from a trailer park manager unless you want to be a trailer park manager?
Right.
Everyone has an opinion. But there is a difference between, say, professional sports bettors or handicappers or just the guy who works a regular job and wants to get down. So everyone has an opinion. The advice information is only as good as the source. I'm also featured on VegasInsider.com. Been on that site for 12 years, handicapping college and pro football, college and pro basketball, Major League Baseball, women's basketball. I have to say that we have 1 million views per day on that site. Tim Donaghy, former NBA official, reached out to me. I'm now on his site as a featured handicapper, RefPicks.com. That's refpicks.com. I'll be having Tim on my show. So I'm thinking about maybe calling the segment Tuesdays with Tim. What do you think?
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah?
Very creative.
You're sold, you're in?
Very creative.
Yeah, very, very in-depth. I mean, a lot of thought went into this.
I think so.
Tuesdays with Tim.
Let's see, what day of the week is it? And Tim's our guest. So if it was Wednesdays with Wally. We got to find Wally.
I think I'm being mocked. Fridays with Lem. Lem Banker is going to be joining me on Fridays for football season. Legendary icon, 86 years old. And as I've said many times, the guy works out every day. I was at his house interviewing him recently, and it's like I told his assistant Juan, I said, I'm pretty sure at age 86, I'm 48, I'm pretty sure Lem could kick my ass.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's going to come in studio?
Well, the thing is, as he's in great shape,
right,
but it's a little challenging, and it's kind of a big to-do to get him out here and there. So we're contemplating doing it on the phone, but I think we'll have him in here live every once in a while.
Okay, good.
So, again, the Odds Couple, we're here Monday through Friday from 10A to 11A. Live chat up and running, live and worldwide. Vegas Video Network studio line is open. We'd love to hear from you. You want to talk some sports betting, hockey, baseball, basketball, 702-221-7283. That's 702-221-7283. Hockey, Stanley Cup Final. Chicago Blackhawks hosting the Boston Bruins Game 1 tonight. Your thoughts?
Well, it should be a great series. I mean, we talked about yesterday, you got original 6 teams in the Blackhawks and the Bruins, and both teams playing very, very well right now. Hot goalies, good defensive teams, great offensive scorers. It should be a great series, and I think it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out, rock and roll party in the streets. It's just going to be a fun series when these two teams get together, or any of the original 6 teams get together, and that includes the Bruins, the Rangers, the Canadiens, the Maple Leafs, the Red Wings, and the Blackhawks. When any of those 6 teams get into the Stanley Cup Finals, because each of them have many on their resume, Stanley Cup championships, it's a great series, and these are rivalries that date back 100-plus years going in. But looking at the series, obviously the Blackhawks have home ice advantage. Where's the series price?
The Chicago Blackhawks are a small favorite. In Game 1, a small favorite overall for the series.
Yeah, so it's not a lopsided series at all.
I'm going on memory, my friend. I don't bet much hockey. Exactly, 145, 150 in that ballpark. I do bet scalp numbers. So as an example, because people oftentimes
scalp, you say that because of the Blackhawks? Scalp?
Well, no, because I shaved my head.
Okay.
No, it has to do with numbers, and more than anything else, I bet numbers more than I ever bet teams. And so even though I don't follow, track, or watch hockey, if I'm doing my due diligence in regards to sports betting, and the total on a hockey game is 5 under 40. If I'm able to get 5 under a quarter and scalp it for 15 cents, I'm a whore. That way I'm proud, I'm loud, and long term you're going to do okay. If when that game starts, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, hockey, if you're getting 15 cents, the best of it, that's $150 per thousand that you bet.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. The interesting thing about this, the Bruins, our last 10 games are 9-1. The Blackhawks are 7-3 in that spot. It's going to be against each other this year. They were relatively even. The Bruins, ironically, have a better offense this year than the Blackhawks had, although I would say the star players are members of the Chicago Blackhawks. And the total today is sitting 5 minus about 120, 110, I think, to the under.
I think it might even be more than that. So they're expecting
a
low-scoring game.
Yeah.
They're expecting a low-scoring game.
130, I think you're right. I think I saw the total shaded to the over was plus 130 if you like.
Yeah,
the
take back is, if you want the over, the take back is plus 30. I believe the under 5 is minus 50 or 45 in that ballpark.
Which there might be some value in taking the underdog in that particular spot. Usually game one, a little more wide open. Teams get a feel for each other a little bit. It wouldn't shock me to see this game, especially with the number being 5. You only need 2-2 not to lose if you're playing the over.
Well, that's the thing with 5 being such a key number in regards to a total for hockey. Worst case scenario, you might push and you're getting plus 30 cents. We know going into anything minus 10, you're expecting to pay minus 10 on one side or the other, so it's a 40-cent difference. Of course, the other side is saying that, hey, everyone likes the under, and that's why they're shading it minus 50, 45 cents on the under.
Teams average about 68 shots a game combined. There's plenty of offensive chances are going to be seen in this series. I know, obviously, the one thing you really can't handicap in a hockey game is special teams. How many how many power plays will one team get versus another team, and that kind of stuff.
Well, and that's a good observation, because in handicapping football, it's very frustrating as a professional. You cannot forecast turnovers or injuries. So, again, I try to minimize. There's plenty of random things that happen when you try to eliminate randomness. I mean, last night, the Detroit Tigers, I'm a dog player. I don't lay the lumber, but I love the Tigers. I think they're a better team than they were a year ago. I think they're certainly a much better team than their record would indicate. I mean, they were basically 5 games over 500, 31-26 when I started riding them a little bit. But statistically speaking, they hit, they pitch. Mm-hmm. Defense has been a pleasant surprise. But last night they were on the road at Kansas City. I laid the 55 cents. The best pitcher in baseball, now 9-0. But here's the thing. I played for the entire game because I've got the best number at minus 55 cents. I believe it was 1-0 or 2-0, whatever it was, after 5 innings. Ultimately, I ended up winning the game by 1 run, but I was nervous, man. And I'm thinking, Brett, you can relate, because Valverde, I can't stand this guy as a closer. I mean, the guy sabotaged the team a year ago, so what do? Let's bring him back. Maybe we were too hard on the guy.
Exactly.
So let's reward negative behavior. And now I have to sweat. But you know what? The point is, it's on me. I knew that clown was my closer when I made the bet. But statistically, my bullpen has been good. The Tigers have been good. Scherzer's going to go deep into the game, so life is good. I'm up 3-2 in the 9th. What does Valverde do? He comes in, walks the first guy.
Of course.
Then they put in a pinch runner. He steals second base, so now I'm sweating. It's guy on second base, scoring position, no outs. Billy Butler, a very good player for the Royals. He's I don't know if you saw this. He's in the batter's box. Valverde falls behind 2-0. I'm thinking, just throw a strike. You're playing the Royals, for Christ's sake. So what happens? It's 3-2. 3-2. Guy on second base. Valverde throws a borderline pitch inside, but close, very close, and I'm thinking it's a ball. The ump calls him out. Butler goes ballistic. I can't believe he didn't get tossed. And then the manager came out, Yost. He was upset. And so then the next batter, Butler comes out of the dugout screaming, yelling, carrying on, and the guy didn't throw him out. But what happens? Billy Butler was saying that he went back and watched it, and it was even worse than he thought. But my point is, you're a grown-ass man. It was a borderline pitch. It's 3-2. You're at home. You're the man. Jack it out of the park. Swing. Go down swinging.
Always go down swinging.
And so for him to whine, cry, and complain that the umpire was unfair, he's a victim. It's like, and so then what? Instead of first and second with no out, get them on, get them over, get them in.
Right.
I would be behind the 8 ball, but instead the next 2 guys got out, so it worked out fine. But I was surprised by Butler to take that pitch
and
then
come back
to go
out of the
off.
dugout again. We'll talk about the other big controversy later on in Are You Kidding Me? But I did not see that one yesterday, but I was too busy focused on what was going on at Chavez Ravine last night as well. That was a little more of an interesting
Everyone's
day.
talking about that. Yeah. We're going to get that in just a couple of minutes, but I do want to finish my point in regards to the Royals and the Tigers. So just buyer beware. I love betting first 5 innings, and I thought, you know what? I was up after 5. Why didn't I just bet Scherzer for the first 5 innings? Because I don't want to rely on – I don't trust Valverde. I just don't.
I'm with you. I hear you in that regard.
I mean, he was 8 for 10 in save situations. Now he's 9 for 11, but it's nerve-wracking. And plus, based on what I saw last year, I can't believe – can you believe they brought this guy back?
No, I can't. And every time I look at him coming out of the dugout with his gyrations and his little thing, I'm thinking, this guy's could be one of the worst, 2 or 3 back into the bullpen guys in the league. And it's really bad. It's one thing if he was the closer for the Marlins.
Right,
you'd say, okay,
right.
well, somebody's got to close for the Marlins
Right.
or the Astros. But he might be on one of the best, he might be on the best team in the American League. Yet to be determined. But a team that has a lot of very good players, a team that should win their division, and a team that has been postseason bound year after year. And he's the guy you're relying on to win you a championship. I'm not sure what Jim Leland thinks about it. Certainly the general manager, you have to be questioning his sanity, and the owner is too busy selling pizzas to be paying attention.
It's a good point because, I pride myself in betting obscure teams that cash tickets. The Pittsburgh Pirates would be an example. They would be an example if I actually was betting them.
Right.
But they are a big money.
8-2 winners over the Giants last night.
They are a cash cow at the bet window. They really are. But those are teams. You don't want to be on high-profile teams, the teams that made it to the World Series or won the World Series a year ago. The Detroit Tigers,
or public teams.
Exactly.
Well.
High-profile teams,
right.
Public teams, the Tigers. But timing is everything. The Tigers, statistically speaking, are better than they were a year ago. I thought at 31-26 a few days ago. They've won every game since exception of one. Today, Verlander is going against Shields at KC, and they're just a small dog. So I believe it or not, I think they're a bit underpriced, and that's counterintuitive, but I really feel this way. You have to see it before it happens.
No, and that's a good point, but it'd be interesting to see why people aren't playing Justin Verlander. I think it went $1.25. I think the actual money came on Kansas City this morning. That money line might have moved against you, but thinking it's Justin Verlander. Why? In the NFL, a lot of these books now won't let you say, I want the Patriots and the over. No, we can't let you parlay those two things together. God forbid we might lose a bet. No. We don't
can't have that.
You're paying a premium for the Patriots and the Saints when they were red hot, and the Packers and the public teams. You know that going in. Where you could play the Bills against the Jaguars and nobody cares. Do whatever you want in that game. We don't care. But God forbid you wanted to play the Patriots in the over. No. We have to have a meeting about that. But I'm surprised, though, more people necessarily aren't pounding Justin Verlander. He's had a little bit of an off year.
He really has, but yet the team, number one in pitching, them and Texas, the Rangers who bombed last night with Holland, their lefty, okay?
Right.
The Indians, your Indians finally won a game, so that's breaking news.
I had the Indians last night.
Hey, good job.
There you go.
Well, did you have them the other 8 days when they lost?
No, I didn't. I just played them last night. The other one was, of course, the Marlins was my pick on Monday's show. They got killed. Yesterday they win. See, I was just off by a day.
It's easy to play based on yesterday's card, isn't it?
But
you can get into trouble betting
Back to the
today's
Future.
games based on yesterday's starting pitcher.
Pitchers aren't the same. But Justin Verlander, 8-4, has been much better in his last couple of starts.
He has. We know he's the man, but I believe his ERA is around 3.71.
Yeah.
Shields is much better, 2.81. I'm going on memory
But
here.
Shields is 2-6 on the year. He's getting no run support.
Exactly right, and that's the thing.
Right.
So that win-loss record, even last night, Scherzer had the other team scored a run in the ninth inning, he doesn't get the win. So,
Right.
he's 9-0, so it's a bit of a facade. All numbers are not created equally. When handicapping pitchers, whip factor, walks, hits per inning pitch, much more of an indicator as opposed to, say, ERA.
Yeah.
And I look at teams that...
But Verlander's whip is elevated this year. It's 1.35, which is
statistically,
high for him.
as you said, he's down a little bit, although he's fared better in his last couple of starts.
Right.
But you have to look at everything. I look at umpires. I look at righty-lefty combinations. If you go to VegasInsider.com, they list the team comparisons. And when you're handicapping a game, you want to look at weather. You want to look at home and away, of course, and starting pitchers and this and that. I like the first 5 innings because commitment issues. Married and divorced twice. I'd rather tie up my money for an hour and a half than, say, an entire 9-inning game.
Unless that's the Red Sox-Yankees game. Then 5 innings is 3 hours.
It only seems like it.
No, it really is. It really is.
We're going to keep things moving with Spin to Win. I'm bringing in the big bad wheel. Spin to Win. We have the Heat taking on the San Antonio Spurs tomorrow night. The point spread for this game is 1.5. The Spurs at home up 2-1. This is the part of the show where we illustrate a point. We're big on education here. The more you know, the more you grow. That's why I'm round.
There you go.
I am forced to make an argument. I'm going to spin the wheel. I am forced to make an argument for one team or the other. Brett automatically has to take the other side. The smart better bets with their head, never their heart. Emotions cloud judgment. Check your emotions. Check your ego at the door. Who do I have?
I'm sorry. Was it a kaleidoscope coma there for a second. You have the Spurs.
San Antonio Spurs. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We're going to call this the San Antonio Spurs wheel.
All right.
And then during football season, it's the New England Patriots wheel.
Fair enough.
All right. So the San Antonio Spurs won by 36 points last night, and now they're favored by 1.5. I only have to win by 2. How do these sports books stay open? History has a way of repeating itself. Most teams would be in a letdown situation. Greg Popovich is too good of a coach. He will inspire, motivate his team to win. If they can win this game, the series is over. I'm not saying it's over, but if the Spurs can win this game, the series is over. Spurs minus 1.5. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Call me for that chicken dinner when you win.
I wish I could agree with you with a 3-1 series lead, because my beloved Cardinals were up 3-1 last year on the Giants, and I don't think they scored a run again the rest of the series.
And I believe the Cardinals play a different sport.
They
Is
do,
that true?
but it's not over. It's not over because last time I checked, they don't award the trophy after winning 3 games. You got to win 4. Last time I checked.
Is that right?
And I am on the proper side of the zigzag theory.
Yeah.
And the Heat
laid
a
there.
big old egg yesterday. That means they're going to come out and win easy in Game 4. And I'm still getting points. I got LeBron. I got Bosh. I got Wade. I got Mario Chalmers.
That is funny.
That is pretty funny, I know. I agree. But, obviously this has been a trend that the Heat have done. They win, they lay an egg, they come back and they look awesome, then they go back to sleep, then they wake up and they play great again. Guess what? It's Game 4. They get to play awesome this game, and I think they will.
Interesting, though, isn't it? I mean, you win by 36 points. You're favored by 2. I mean, it opened 2.5. Money came into Miami yesterday. It closed 2. Small move, not much. And then you come back after winning by 36, and the money moves against you.
Right.
I'm guessing it's the zigzag theory. I'm guessing the uncertainty of the status of Tony Parker. But it also goes to show, you asked me before the show, Scott, did you bet the Spurs? No, I didn't play the game.
Right.
And you were surprised. But the point is, I already cashed my ticket, baby. Plus
That's true.
250, plus 220
You
to
can't
win the
have
West.
some a cherry
Of
on
course.
top, right?
Well, but only if there's value. I don't know if there's value. I feel like an idiot saying it today. Oh, I didn't want to lay the 2. I only won by 36, but I was nervous. The idea is the line is right, man. It's sharp. They're playing. The odds makers are focused in on one game every 2 or 3 days. Okay. I want to bet Florida Atlantic taking on Troy on a Saturday, where there's a reason why they limit what you can bet on those games. Here, they'll let you bet whatever you want for the most part. So I don't see value, and that's why I don't bet.
I got you.
This late. If I do, you'll be the first to know.
Okay. I appreciate it. Should be fun.
You're listening to The Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio. Scott Pritchard can't do it. I can't do this show by myself. The Odds Couple with Scott Pritchard, that's absurd. That's why I have my good buddy, Brett Grant. Together, we are pretty darn tough. We together are the Odds Couple talking sports betting. We're going to take a commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Have you ever thought you should be on the radio? Or have you considered doing an online video show or podcast? If so, now is your only chance to do both at the same time. KSHP and the Vegas Video Network have teamed up to provide the only multi-camera broadcast quality video and live radio simulcast in Las Vegas. And instead of having your show played at some ungodly hour, the KSHP Vegas Video Network partnership is producing shows that play from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. Imagine having your own radio show broadcasting to the entire Las Vegas Valley, and combine that with an online presence that is viewed in all 50 states and 150 countries, both live and on demand. This is a first and an outstanding opportunity to give voice to your business, your ideas, and your talent. If you'd like your own show on KSHP and the Vegas Video Network, contact us today at 221-1200. That's 221-1200.
Welcome back to The Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio, Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's a dry heat.
It's beautiful outside right now.
So's an oven, though, right?
Well, hey, I've been hanging out at the baseball field. My son has games. Once the sun goes down, it's very enjoyable outside.
Summer nights,
the
Las
baseball
Vegas.
I'm watching is not very enjoyable, but the weather's perfect.
Summer nights, Las Vegas, it's 98 degrees, but I'm telling you, it's great. Daytime, different story. I try to stay in or hit the pool.
Right.
Reach out to us on the Odds Couple. We would love to hear from you. Email us at oddscouple@vegasvideonetwork.com. That's oddscouple@vegasvideonetwork.com. Also, we have web-based voicemail. Would love to hear your voice on our show. Go to our site, Vegas Video Network. On the right-hand side, a red bar. Click there. Middle of the page, a green bar. Hit the Start Record button. Now, we have live chat. Thanks for sharing. Thanks, I appreciate that.
Sorry about that.
You need a Kleenex?
I hit the wrong button. I went to hit my off button. I didn't do that.
You meant to hit the off button, and instead you cranked it all the way up so I could hear that in my ear as I'm trying to do a show here?
Exactly.
That's great. All right.
Push the green button, will you?
Live chat up and running on Vegas Video Network. We're live and worldwide. If you do miss us live, it's okay. Reach out to us on Vegas Video Network, YouTube, iTunes, Roku. I love this part of the show because it's who I am. This part of the show is about frustration. Not in my personal life, not my sex life. That goes without saying. I'm talking about sports betting. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I thought the new segment was going to be bodily functions. I started a new segment. But let's I apologize for that. But are you kidding me? We haven't talked about it yet, and the whole world is talking about it. We're going to share, it appears, the Are You Kidding Me segment today. The brawl in Los Angeles yesterday between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are not very good. First place versus last place. Ian Kennedy throwing at rookie sensation, the Cuban, Mr. Puig. He hits him up and in, as you see right there, and grazes his nose is what happens. So then Zach Greinke goes back out the next inning, and he says, you know what? Here comes Miguel Montoya, one of your best players. I'm going to hit him, but I'm going to do it in a respectful manner. I'm going to plunk you in the back, which he did. That should have been the end of it. You hit my guy, I hit your guy, it's over with. But yet, Ian Kennedy goes back out, and then he throws at Zach Greinke. And he doesn't throw and hit him in the butt. He doesn't hit him in the leg. He doesn't hit him in the arm. He hits him up in the upper shoulder, glances off his helmet. My only problem with this is, first of all, you shouldn't throw at the third guy. One guy, you get my guy, I get your guy, tit for tat, we're done with. And you certainly don't throw at somebody's head. It's chicken, you know what? It's garbage. That's not part of the game. The Diamondbacks 100% wrong in this situation. Ian Kennedy should be suspended for quite a while, I think, for doing that. Forget the guys in the brawl. That's just boys being boys in that regard. But Ian Kennedy, for that, are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? My segment has to do with Ian Kennedy. Are you kidding me? Hey, he hit two guys last night, so we're going to double dip and throw this guy under the bus. I'm telling you, first of all, what kind of a badass is this guy, Puig? I mean, he gets hit in the face. 92-mile-an-hour fastball, clocks his nose. I'm all right, I'll brush it off.
He's really a hockey player.
I'm telling you, he stands up and goes to first base. Right. He continues to, gets hit clocked in the face. 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Oh, something isn't quite right. Good thing I didn't get clocked. I'd be minus a nose
if this
today.
Was a Monty Python movie, 'tis a mere flesh wound.
Right, exactly. But Ian Kennedy, the fact that he went after Greinke, okay?
Yeah,
like I
problem.
think you implied. I mean, after he hit Puig up high, and then Greinke retaliated by plunking Montero.
Right.
But he did it not high and tight. But then when Greinke came up, for Kennedy to do that is a... I'm telling you, the guy should be tossed. I'm telling you. I just can't.
There's no place
I really
in the game
can't
for
believe
that.
that. I just can't believe it.
And of course, Kennedy's comments, I didn't realize it was that high until I saw the replay. Right.
What did you expect him to say, though, really? I mean,
well,
he
hit my guy, I hit him back. I had enough of him.
Yeah.
It's been a tough year for Zach Greinke. He's got hit last night. He got charged in the mound, of course, in San Diego, and ended up on the disabled list. And everybody was, calling that guy a bum for doing what he did to Zach Greinke. I thought Greinke deserved to get charged when he got charged because he hit that guy multiple times. And now here he is, getting hit in an undeserving situation. It should have been over with. And that's where, one of the things I love about hockey is if you hit my best guy, I hit your best guy, we shake hands afterwards, we have a beer. It's part of the game. It's over with.
Right on.
But Kennedy overstepped the bounds and went after the opposing pitcher. After Kennedy was the one who started this thing. I guess he wanted to have the last say. Kurt Gibson gets tossed. Kennedy gets tossed. Another coach of the Diamondbacks gets tossed. Puig gets tossed. Rafael Belisario comes running. I've never seen him so athletic move by him. He came running out of the bullpen. Here I am to save the day. He gets tossed. Mark McGuire gets. Who wants to square up and fight Mark McGuire? Androman versus the Gimp. It's McGuire versus
Matt
Kurt
Williams.
Gibson. Or Matt Williams.
Yeah,
Was it Matt Williams?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought it was Kurt Gibson for a minute. There was quite a scuffle going on there. And, of course, isn't it odd how the fight starts at the mound always, and it ends up at one of the dugouts always. It's like everybody's doing the cha-cha. Okay, guys, everybody move to your right.
Someone might get hurt if we fight in the middle of the field.
Right.
Let us push and shove and call each other names.
Yeah.
Typical baseball fight.
Well, we'll see who else gets suspended, but Ian Kennedy deserves the biggest suspension of all of them. It's his fault entirely.
You're listening to The Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio, live and worldwide, Vegas Video Network, Monday through Friday, 10A to 11A. Scott Pritchard, professional sports bettor. My site, pritchardspicks.com, joined by Brett Grant. We're going to move along and put money into your pocket. I talked about the fact I continue to be on a streak, 17-9, my last 26 plays, documented right here on this radio station, Vegas Video Network as well. We're going to put you, Brett and I together, put you on the right side.
Well, yesterday I won as well, so I can't remember what my record is. I have a very bad memory.
We don't want to talk about your record.
I'm 1-0.
But yesterday you were 1-0, man.
I'm 1-0. I gave you out the Reds yesterday, who beat the Cubbies easily yesterday. I'm going to go to another baseball game tonight. This one is a late one in Oakland between the Yankees and the Oakland Athletics. Pitching matchup here. A couple of guys in Dan Straley and Phil Hughes who haven't been great, both guys with relatively high ERAs. Run support usually is there for Straley. At times it can be there for Hughes. I'm just thinking there's a low number today at 7.5. I realize it's Oakland. Been watching the Yankees a little bit. They're starting to swing the bats a little bit better. The A's had been a pretty good over team during the course. The total here is 7.5. Over minus 120. The over has actually come down a little bit. Now it's over minus 105, I think. So money's gone against me, which is what I like. The money's gone against me. When are people going to believe me, Scott? When are they going to believe me?
How is it that I guess based on your logic, everyone is wrong.
Exactly.
But you're right.
Isn't it amazing?
What?
It's a tough burden to carry. I got to say.
But you know what's crazy?
To
when the money has been against you and you're getting the worst of it, you win.
All
the wise guys lose.
I'm probably 80% in that situation.
And then when you're on the side that the money say, hey, Scott, I'm getting the best of it, you lose.
I'm like 20%. So overall, I'm probably 50%. I think I'm doing all right on the show overall.
Oh, yeah, you are, absolutely.
I like the Yankees over, and the A's over the 7.5 today is what I like. I'm going to play over that total.
Before we get to my right side, I want to recap what took place yesterday. I like the Rockies game over, and there's a lesson here, my friends, because 2 nights ago I played over 10.
Right.
Now, yesterday when I got up, it was up to 10.5 over minus 15. It closed 11. Why is this important? Because it fell 11, 8-3 final. So if you bet over blindly, that's why I bet numbers. All right, I bet over, Red Rover. I love the over. I bet the over minus over 10. All right, it closed 11. So if you bet the over last night, it's a push. 8-3 final, winner, chicken dinner. Short term, you may not think it's important, but long term, very, very significant.
What about
17-9, my last 26 plays? Go ahead.
When we had the show yesterday, it was at 10.5. What about playing the over in that regard at 10.5? Realizing the only difference is if it lands 10, you push, I would lose. But if it gets, you need 11 to win. I still need 11 to win.
A professional sports bettor would never bet over 10.5 if he could have played over 10. So to answer your question, and that's why it was a little bit of a dilemma yesterday, I can only tell you and share with you what I bet, and that was over 10. Now, over 10.5 minus 15, would I play that? No, I would not. It still would have won, but that isn't the point. It's a bad habit to get into. To lay juice and get a bad number, it's a recipe for disaster. Now, let's get to my play for today, the odds couple. We have the Tigers taking on the Kansas City Royals, and I mentioned earlier that Verlander is going against Shields. I respect Shields. I respect the Royals at home, but so much love, respect, emotionally attached. I mean, I like the Tigers, man. Minus a quarter. I realize that Verlander, statistically speaking, is down a little bit, but their middle relievers are solid. I expect Verlander to go deep into the game. I do respect Shields. I mean, his ERA is considerably less, 2.81 as opposed to 3.74 for Verlander, or in that ballpark. I like the Tigers minus the cheap number. Tigers, Verlander, listed pitchers minus the quarter. See the cashier.
Well, I think the big difference here is the lineup that the Tigers bring against Shields versus the lineup that the Royals have facing Verlander.
I think that's a big part of it, and the fact that the Tigers, they play well during the day, they play well at night, they play well at home, they play well on the road. Good pitching, good defense, good hitting.
Right.
Deadly combination. I mean, it's amazing to have all three of those, but we think the defense is a bit of a fraud at this point in time, because we know, based on the corner positions, that they're going to have some struggles. We're wrapping things up. We have about 5 minutes. Brett, what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about streaks, because baseball is so streaky from a sports betting standpoint. We have the Boston Red Sox. They have gone over the closing total 6 consecutive times. The Seattle Mariners, with questionable hitting but very good pitching, they've gone under the closing total 6 straight times. Winning streak, no one has a winning streak of 4 games or more. Losing streaks, we have 3 teams. The Houston Astros, 6 consecutive losses. Philadelphia Phillies, 4 consecutive losses. And the L.A. Dodgers, how long before we can this manager? For the Angels, 4 consecutive losses. They're up to their old tricks again.
11 games under 500. I think a month from now, when the All-Star breaks here, if you don't see significant improvement in some of these teams, either the Dodgers or the Angels, I think you'll see a move made, because, I mean, you can't have that kind of a roster and that kind of a payroll and have that lack of production.
And we've been saying this. The Angels last year, the favorite to win the American League, couldn't even make the postseason, couldn't even make a wild card. All right. Now this year, same thing. 11 games out of first place. Last year, what did they do? They couldn't fire the entire team, and apparently the manager is untouchable, so they fired the hitting coach.
Right.
What a joke. Are you kidding?
And now Albert's hitting 240.
Right, exactly.
With the new hitting
so
coach.
So maybe it wasn't the hitting coach.
Handpicked.
Maybe it's that this guy is maybe past it. Maybe.
Maybe.
I understand, St. Louis
disagree.
boy. I understand that he was the man. And I love Albert. I do. Right. But he's not the same player.
I'm very excited the Cardinals didn't sign him, for the standpoint of the Cardinals. I was talking about this again last night. Cardinals offered him 5 years, $25 million. Then they stretched it to about 7 years at $25 million a year. And the Angels offered him $10 million. Cardinals made a good offer. Can't say Albert made a bad decision. He took the money and ran. That's great. But you know what? Looking at his production there and realizing the Angels have 8 more seasons of that on their payroll, and the Cardinals have the flexibility to go out and sign Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina, their 2 leaders. They signed Matt Holliday a couple of years back to a long-term contract. They got all those great young arms there, and the Cardinals are in a much better situation now that they didn't have him. And had he signed for the 5 years or the 7 years, I think they still would have been okay, because they didn't lock themselves in for the extra 3 years, another basically at $75 to $100 million. The National League does not have the DH. And I ran a DH survey, by the way,
and how did
on
it
my
turn
Facebook
out?
page.
I voted in.
You did. You voted both sides.
I don't go both ways, but I voted
Apparently.
both sides. DH, no DH, and I prefaced it by saying I have a split personality.
Apparently you did.
I'd like to talk to you about
the overwhelming winner is no DH. Overwhelmingly no DH.
So people are okay paying to watch a bonehead pitcher bat.
They are. They like the strategy of the pure game of the National League. I think that's what it comes down more than anything else.
And maybe if
as
you're
opposed
a good
to the mindless managing, I can sit on the bench, Jim Leyland, smoke my cigarettes, and go, oh yeah, Miguel Cabrera's up today. I don't have to worry about him at all. Here comes Prince Fielder. Pinch run? No worries. We're good. That's the thing.
In defense of your survey involving family and friends, I guess
I have thousands of them.
I guess it really behooves you to be a good hitting pitcher. Really would help your cause.
Sure. There's plenty of bad American League hitters. Will Middlebrooks is batting like 200. Josh Hamilton batting 211. I can give you some pitchers that are having better averages than that.
This has been the Odds Couple on KSHP AM 1400 Radio. We're live and worldwide on Vegas Video Network, Monday through Friday, 10 a to 11 a Las Vegas time. My name is Scott Pritchard, professional sports bettor handicapper, featured on my site, pritchardspicks.com, vegasinsider.com, refpicks.com. I also write weekly for Gaming Today newspaper for Brett Grant. I'm Scott Pritchard. Good luck, goodbye, good riddance.